I'm Shauna with Heritage Creations Cut Flowers. I'm in Zone 8A in North Carolina, and I'm a small grower here. Okay, can you see all of those leaf-footed bugs? Here's more leaf-footed bugs and a whole bunch of babies. More leaf-footed bugs over there. Try not to disturb them. I'm not sure if you can see those. Down there. Here. All up in here. They're all over this. That one just flew up here. One plant, and it happens to be at the end of the row. So I planted a lot of these at the end of the rows. Now, a lot of them have been cut down because I'm clearing out rows. But I had more here, as you can tell. They kind of died off. And then all you need is a cup with water, and you can just plop them all in just like you do your Japanese beetles. Works really well. And yes, some of them are going to fly off for sure, but pretty much they come back to the plant. If you wait, you can pretty much get most of the leaf-footed bugs. All right, the first thing to know too is with this cup, you want to put the cup under where you see the leaf-footed bugs, and then you bring your hand down on top like this. But the first thing the leaf-footed bug does when it sees your hand is it jumps down. So it's going to jump down into the cup. A lot of times they just jump right down into my cup. Sometimes they fly away. Like today I just saw about 5 of them fly away, but I got the majority of them. And the best thing to do, which I did not do this morning, is come out first thing in the morning, especially when they're still dew. If that's the case, they're super lazy. They don't even fly away. You can pretty much get every single one of them if you come out first thing in the morning when there's still dew on here. You can pretty much just pluck them all in there. But I did get all of those babies and all of that in there. So I have gotten rid of so many leaf-footed bugs just having an apples of Peru here. Now, yes, if you ever grow one of these and see how I've got lots of brown ones, it's gone to seed. So I for sure will have next year, they'll be popping up. They're kind of like a weed after you've grown one. And if you get them at this stage and you cut them, you can definitely use them in your bouquets. They have purple flowers, and then once they go to the lantern stage, I've definitely used them in bouquets. So it does serve a dual purpose. But I have found that, yes, it's kind of like a weed. Once you have it, you'll never get rid of it. But the good thing about that is a lot of times if I see them when they're, small, I just pull them up and put them at the end of a row. And they are super, super helpful. Apples have got lots of them this morning. They'll just die in there. Tip number 2, if you want mahogany splendor, which it tends to wilt, and the first time I ever grew it, it was really wilty, but I started it mid-season because it is a really fast grower. See, I've cut off this a ton, but start it at the beginning of the season, put it in, leave it, don't cut off of it till you need it, because this is more of a fall crop, so it's going to get super woody stems on you. You'll see these kind of are a lot thicker like that. Don't cut off of it until like September. If you put it in at the beginning of the season, don't cut off of it until September, and they tend really not to wilt on you like if you put it in the mid-season. I also cut first thing in the morning, cut it and take it straight into where it's cool, and then let it sit overnight. And then most of the time I have no wilting. If I do have one that wilts, then I just throw it out because it's not going to recover. But basically, since this one has been growing all season, I haven't really had trouble with wilting. I just let it sit overnight and everything recovers, and it's beautiful, and it holds up really well in bouquets. All right, tip number 3. These are just random tips that have really helped me out this year, is plant yourself some phlox. This is the Flamingo Phlox series. This one is mildew resistant. This one is tall, and I did get this from Ball Seed last year. So I just planted this last fall, so this is just a first year crop. This one saved me this Mother's Day. It was blooming for Mother's Day, and I had some crop failure with my snapdragons for Mother's Day. This whole row was blooming for Mother's Day, and it saved me. And one thing I didn't know is, which I'm glad I didn't know, because I don't think it would have been blooming if I had done this, but it did send up really thick stalks the first time, and I should have pinched those, and then I would have gotten more, but I did not. But it did bloom for Mother's Day for me, and then after that I cut all those and used them in bouquets, and then also sold to florists. And then after that I got a second flush of this, which was super helpful, and then now I'm getting a great third flush of this, which I've sold to florists and used in my bouquets. So this is the pink. So I'm actually putting in some white this year as well. This is just one row. I think it was 25. I think it was 25 plugs. I just have one row back here, and it doesn't get, it's full sun, but actually here it doesn't get full sun, so I was really worried about that. But it still has done really, really well. I'm sure it gets 6 hours of sun, but if you can see, I've got some trees back here that kind of shade this area right here. So I was just trying to figure out something to do with this row, and this has been a really good use of this row. The best time, and it does need to be netted. As you can see, a lot of this is falling down here because the netting is not up where it needs to be, and that's because I planted some sunflowers here. This is why I want to just finish this row off with more phlox. So, and these sunflowers aren't doing really that well because there's not enough sun here for them. Anyway, so the netting is down too much. So, but I still have been able to use a lot of this. This is a great time to cut, and this is the perfect time to cut when you have just one open and the rest are getting ready to bud up, because they will continue to open. So all of this, as you see, it's the perfect time to cut. I've been cutting off of all of this. For this third flush, I sold last week to a florist. I've been putting it in bouquets for a couple weeks. They're all kind of sending up different shoots at different times. But if you'll look at see how tall this is? So this is plenty tall. Even though it's kind of flopped over a little bit, I'm still getting plenty tall stems, even though I need to raise my netting here. So yeah, definitely need my netting raised, but perfect cutting time for all of this. If you let it bloom out too much, I'll show you. There's one over here. If you let it bloom out too much, then you start getting a lot of this dead flowers on it, and of course it doesn't look good. And you see, you can always do that too. You can shake it and get the dead flowers off, the ones that are recent, but these old ones, then you kind of have to pull off. I mean, you can use it like that. It just takes more time because you kind of have to pull these dead ones off. It still has plenty that are going to bloom. So you could definitely still use it. You just have to take a little more time and care with it, because you don't want to put it in with all those dead ones. So it's much better to have something like this where they're all getting ready to bloom. So if you put that in your bouquet, or obviously sell it to florists, then it has plenty of bloom time. It's going to last a really long time. And actually, one of my florists that I sold to the first cutting, she even told me she was amazed at how long it lasted for her. She said, typically, I typically put it in and sell things right away, but there was a bunch that she didn't, and I forgot why. Anyway, she held on to it for whatever reason, and she was amazed at how long it lasted. So when I was doing this row, I had this part open because there was something here when I started planting. So I have this section open, and then in this row I have this section open. And then I had a little loss in here, but anyway, that's why I've got some white coming, and I'm going to plant it here and at the end. I would also highly recommend mountain mint. I'm also getting a second flush of mountain mint, and you want to cut mountain mint when you see this on the top, because it holds up much better. It doesn't get as wilty if you see that. So as you can tell, I'm getting second flush there of that. I forgot what number I'm on. It might be tip number 5. These peppers, I'll have to put the name up here because I forgot, but these peppers, I sold a lot of this to florists, and they loved them. They hold up really well. You cut them, you can put them in the cooler, out of the cooler, you can put them in water, and they hold up for like 2 weeks in water without really even changing the water, because that's what I did when I first tried them. And they love just as foliage, but they also love the little peppers on them. So I kind of cut them all down. I used them all up. Then I just let them regrow. And here they are again in, what are we? The 1st of October. And I can start using them again. So let me show you. All right, so here are the peppers. This is what they look like. So how good is that for fall, right? Let me find a stem. That's a great stem right there. Now, so it's just my shorter ones right now that have peppers. All the taller ones that I cut back, they have flowers, but they haven't set their peppers yet. So I'm kind of waiting to cut all of this. Now I could use it as foliage for sure, because the foliage is going to hold up, but I was kind of waiting for the peppers, because I think that's what makes it even more adorable in bouquets and whatnot. This whole row back here, this is bee balm. This bee balm I cut off of so much. I cut off when it had flowers, and then it after I didn't use all of it, and then some of it went to seed and had these little balls on them, and I sold that to florists too after it flowered and had the little ball on there, and they loved that textural element as well. So bee balm was a big hit. And then Gully keeps wanting to say hello. Right, Gullis? What you doing, Gulls? What you doing?